Guro Jee Choi here. So I've had many of you guys do the following, and I'm gonna have to explain this since some of you guys just couldn't read or didn't understand, and some of you guys just upset for no good reason. First of all, thank you for your interest. I absolutely do. Trust me, I'm a student. I'm a forever student. I never consider myself master or anything like that. I always consider myself a student first. The term Guro just means teacher, and that's what I am. I teach my students who are limited. I don't keep a lot of students for the following reasons. Some teachers may want hundreds and thousands of students, and that's great. Good for you guys. I don't know how you manage, but for me, I want to get to know every one of my students personally. Meaning, I want them to be able to learn from me and maximize on their personal traits to make them better. For example, in Floro Fighting Systems, we don't do in ranking by degrees or dance or anything like that, or phases. We go by category. Meaning a student who is category 1 instructor credit and FFS Machete, and we'll have another student who's category 3 who have FFS Machete, EKI, and FFS foregrip. But when they spar, it doesn't necessarily mean the student who has a higher category is better than the one who only has one category, because it just depends on the individual trait and individual skill set and how much they dedicated themselves to that particular craft and category in question. So because of that, that's how we do things here in Floro Fighting Systems, and that's what I absolutely love. So that's how the procedure goes. Now, as for those of you who want to train in Floro Fighting Systems and train with me, first of all, I'm honored that you would consider someone as halfway insane as yours truly when it comes to, I'm a fanatic when it comes to martial arts, especially when it comes to Floro Fighting Systems. I'm a fanatic. But as I mentioned on my Facebook, my website, and also here on my YouTube channel many times, I do not just take anyone as a student. You want to become my student, there's procedures for you to go through. And if you're not a whanau is Tena Maori for family. So it doesn't necessarily mean you have to be blood. You could be someone who is family by kindred spirits. Family friends who are practically family, so that's what pretty much I'm always considered by my Maori whanau as that. So because of that, that's the term that I chose for how I call my tribe. And that's what, well, technically it's Iwi, but my whanau is pretty much my Iwi, my tribe. And I am very reserved in who I allow into my practice, and let me explain that on this a little bit further. Recently I found out through one of the contract projects that I am currently working on that a student who I trained and who was actually working in this particular industry at this time of motion capture and also fight choreography, he literally did everything in his way possible to derail me from gaining entrance into that line of work, while taking credit and also going into what could have been something that I could have jumped into work in. And he came out with all sorts of bullshit excuses, such as like, yeah, you have to be part of a mocap union, blah, blah, blah. That was all horseshit because I'm working on these right now. So after that betrayal, and it's just made it more solidified my current operation method for training, that I only share my knowledge with my whanau, because I can no longer deal with backstabbing snakes in our rankings, and let alone our circle. I won't allow it. So because of that, I am very reserved in who I allow into my practice. Now, how someone who's non-whanau gains entrance and into my practice as a possible candidate is through one of my standing whanau recommending you into my practice with a recommendation letter that endorses you to train with me in my practice. You can do this in several ways. Keep in mind that none of my local whanau will willingly, unless they really trust you, they won't recommend you, because the consequences of them vouching for you and you turning out to be a turd is dire. Meaning, I will kick your ass out of my practice and you will no longer be associated with us ever. I just won't deal with it anymore. It's just, I'm at an age right now that this is not, teaching martial arts is not for money. If you guys are ever thinking about getting into martial arts as an instructor to make money, that's lunacy. I'm just gonna say that. You can't make money with it, alright? You literally have to have heart for it. The type of martial art that I'm talking about is this. Bladed arts in general are not something that is respected as a respectable discipline by many, especially in Asian culture. They see this in a very negative and derogatory ways. So because of that, it's even difficult. Like, for example, I could understand from being almost soon to be a grandpa. So I totally understand why parents would think like that. Because how would you feel if your little one says, it's just like, Grandpa, I want to learn how to knife fight and sword fight. And I was like, sword fight? Maybe. Knife fight? Definitely a no-no. So there'll be me, and even the grandpa actually is a instructor of Floro Fighting Systems. That's for me. I'll maybe knife defense, but aside from that, even when I'm babysitting my goddaughter, I'll teach her Floro Fighting System knife defense, but knife fighting, that never happens. Not under my watch. It's just, we did some land baton, but I try to keep her away from any edge weapons. And I don't want her getting curious about them either, because the consequences are too dire at a young age for this. So that's just my mentality, my thought. And this is coming from me, who's been doing this almost for 4 decades. So close to me, this is as closest to my best friend that has never changed. So that's my thought on the method. For you to now get in, how do you get an audience then if your whanau is not going to vouch for me? My teachers are my whanau. So many of you guys don't know that. I have some of the greatest teachers in the world. And 2 teachers in particular come to mind that may be willing to vouch for if they know you. First, obviously, is my teacher. Shout out to Ray. Ray, how's it going, brother? So, the great Grandmaster Raymond Floro of Floro Fighting Systems. Ray, if he knows you, meaning you've either taken Zoom session from him, or are like me, who's a fanatic, who have every single FFS online course and look and train and study that on a daily basis, then Ray knows you. So he will vouch for you if you're in the States. For some odd reason, if you can't make the journey, or you don't want to make the journey all the way down to Australia, obviously Washington State is closer. So you may want to do that. And I'll only take you into my wings to train you in Floro Fighting Systems with Ray's approval. It'll still cost you, but it'll cost you less than what I would normally would request for professional contract work. So on that setting, kudos. So if Ray vouches for you, trains much less, and you get treated like a family, because you will soon be a member of my whanau if you complete the course to become an official, legit FFS category instructor credit to represent us, Floro Fighting Systems, in your region. So that's the only way to do it. And I'm gonna be honest, all the local whanau they're my family, so they're the reason why I train with them on a regular basis, because they're whanau. Non-whanau, to be honest, right now, reason why I simply sometimes won't even reply to some of you guys asking, where are you at? Hey, when can I start training? I just ignore you guys because, one, you don't even know how to start the conversation decently. I had a kind of mixed education, so my education as a Western education wise, I had a lot of that influenced by European system of education, like the Brits. So because of that, if I was to write a letter and if I start out as something that only as I want, and also me having to major in criminal justice, the way I look at it when someone writes like that is you're only in for yourself, man. So if you're just all me, you need some time to grow up, and you're not even ready to train with me yet. And that's what I can see just from that first sentence that you would try to send. And I'll just ignore you because you're still a child, no matter how old you are. So learn proper grammar, learn to write, and maybe then I'll reply to you. Like those of you who I replied to, you will never start out your conversation like this. Hello, Mr. Choi. And you'll start out as, I just saw your YouTube clip on Floro Fighting Systems. I'm very interested. Could you tell me where I can learn it? Or what if I can learn from you? And I would take the time to write to that person and say, hey, thank you for your interest, sir. I'm not taking any students unless they're my final or final recommended. However, my teacher, Master Raymond Floro, offers online course through FFS Online and also Zoom session when he can. So please contact him and I'll give you Ray's contact information so you could contact him. That's how I would write if you actually take the time to write a proper sentence. But if you are acting like some buffoon, I won't reply even to you because you're just wasting my time. So just letting you guys know that in advance so you know how to approach, because that's something that's missing. Decency and sincerity is missing in today's world. And now, I don't teach a lot of people, I just teach my whānau. To my whānau, I want to make sure they learn this also. Just basic ethics. If you don't have that, you're nothing but, if you're one of mine, and if you're acting like that, I'll be very disappointed because you would have all the skills as a warrior, but you lack this. You lack decent manners, decency to actually make you a man. So I'll be very disappointed, and I have been disappointed with many of my past students. That's why I kicked them out of my practice. I'm not one of those people who need to have the students to survive financially like that. I got work, which I am grateful, and best of all, it doesn't fucking include DEI. Ha! Sorry, had to get that out of my system. Most government fucking whack jobs up to pretty much last few years didn't require this bullshit, but oh Jesus Christ, the fucking DEI crap. Yeah, never looking back to that shit ever again. Going, alright, sorry about that. Need to get that shit out of my system. So with that said, hopefully that helps you understand. If you want to join my practice, contact Ray. Talk with Ray and get to know him. Be sincere. Dedicate yourself to the practice of Floro Fighting Systems. Learn and incorporate the base fundamental skill set to make it yours through online practice and practice at home. If you have the solid foundation for that, when you come and later on when Ray approves you and when you come and train with me, it will show. Tom, who took almost a month and a half of break, well, obviously Guro Brad and Guro Tim, they could take time off without any worries because they train at home and their skills don't fade, because the skills integrated through sparring don't fade away. Skills just integrated through solo practice do fade. So because of that, I was worried, but Guro Tom is an example of what happens when you dedicate yourself thoroughly and combine your solo practice with FFS Online and coming here to train with me when you can. Because what happens is the skills, I need to just correct some areas to make it better. And if you watch Tom sparring from our last time, you notice that he lead the attack. He didn't wait. So that was, I'm super proud of him on that. Not to mention he's actually incorporating techniques from his solo practice, Flèche, and he's doing it so naturally because it's a repeated, continuous practice that he does at home. Well, when he's here, we focus on what we need to, which is get that skill into actuality by sparring and make it solid. So that's how I train people in Floro Fighting System, is through sparring. We don't do hundreds and thousands of repetitions on base fundamentals when you train with me, because that's wasting time. You could have done that at home. When you're here, you need to spar and make sure what you do works. And that's Floro Fighting System. Your sparring is training, and training is sparring. All right. Hopefully this explained everything to you guys. Again, no disrespect to anyone who contacted me and just didn't know how to approach this. So now you know how, so learn. Everybody makes mistakes, but question is, what differentiates us from apes is that we can reason. If you can't reason and if you can't self-correct, then there's something wrong with you, and training in this is not the answer. You should focus on something else first and correct that issue before you come and focus on this. All right, hopefully you guys have a great day. I got Guro Tim and Guro Tom and Guro Brad, 3 Guros, 3 of my brothers coming here soon, so we'll get to spar and have fun, and also we're gonna be incorporating Gun Fu, so it's gonna be pretty cool. All right, catch you guys later.